Welcome to the JB Media Institute Expert Interview Series. We're here today to talk with Dan Anton of Atlanta SEO, and he's going to share some perspectives with us on search engine optimization and tell us a little bit about his story and how he got into the industry. So thanks so much for being here today, Dan.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Sarah. I appreciate it.
So we talk at our institute a lot about storytelling, and you've got a really interesting story about how you got into the SEO industry. So could you share with us just a little bit about what you were doing before you got into this industry and what inspired you to break into the field?
Right. So, I kind of went a different direction. Out of college, I went into the Army, completely not related to SEO in any way. And, you know, came a point in my career where I had to get out of the Army and started a passion project of mine, which was a video game website. And in the course of creating this website, along with my brother and partner, we started trying to figure out how do we get traffic to this website. And as we progressed and started to figure things out, we started to really understand SEO and realize that there were voids in the market where people weren't, able to rank their websites that needed assistance with it. So, back then it was all about forums and stuff. So we were on forums and, we would help people out and create services that would help people rank their websites. And that's really kind of like what springboarded everything. And that was about probably 2007 when we started to really start learning and then turn it into an actual business.
Awesome. So the next question is really about a lot of marketers are talking about content strategy in 2016. So I feel like that's a huge conversation. If you keep up with internet marketing, people are talking about content marketing and content strategy all the time. But to me, creating search engine success really is about creating high quality content and building links to that content and getting in front of quality audiences. So can you share a little bit about link building, how your company is approaching that these days, and what are kind of some of your tips around building earned links that are really valuable? This is something I think a lot of companies are struggling with, and Google's made a lot of changes in the rules around link building over the years. So can you give us some feedback on that?
Oh yeah, things have changed, quite a bit, even in the last 5 years, but certainly since 2007 when I started doing this. So, content marketing is like the latest buzzword right now. Everyone's content marketing this and that. And it's great because, content is very important. And, the funny thing is it's always been important. It's just now becoming like a buzzword. You always should have been writing good quality content for the user, not the search engine. And certainly link building is part of it. The whole white hat, black hat debate, whatever you feel about it. Back then, when SEO was kind of just coming into its own, yeah, you could spam and do different things and you could rank. Google's a lot smarter now. The algorithm is a lot smarter. They have rank brain, they have machine learning algorithms. So it's all about the quality and, links are still important, of course, but you want links with value. And by saying that, I mean, outreach is a great thing that we use now where we talk to people in the same space as the client. And we try to, get reciprocal links or even one-way links, guest blog type thing. But it's a high-valued link. It's not like a spammy blog comment or, like a profile link or something like that. So the type of link has certainly changed. And I don't think the type of links that we're talking about now with outreach is a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because it actually it generates traffic organically in the search engine and then also on the site itself because it's usually a site of value that you want these links on in the first place. So hopefully it has some kind of viewership, which in turn is bringing traffic as well.
Yeah, and I really agree with that because I think it comes down to the links having real value, the same way the content has value. And that's where Google's made the biggest change, I think, is you can't just get any link from any website and have it count. It really needs to kind of be relevant to your audience, and there needs to be people clicking on it and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously themed links are ideal, but if you have like a high authority, like if CNN's linking back to you, you're not going to be upset because even though they cover a wide range of stuff, they have so much authority behind them that's obviously a very valuable link.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you have kind of a technical background and you work, in the programming world of search engine optimization. So can you give us some tips on what a company website needs to kind of have in place from a technical standpoint so that they're really prepared for success? This is something that we come across a lot with students where they want to engage in an SEO campaign, but quite honestly, their website is really not prepared for that campaign. So can you just give us some, kind of technical insight into, what do people need to check on before they say, yes, it's time for us to do some search engine optimization?
Right. I mean, even the design of the website in general should have SEO kind of in the back of your mind when you do it, because it shouldn't be an afterthought, because a lot can go into it. I mean, WordPress is obviously a very simple CMS where you can get an SEO plugin and it works very well. From a technical standpoint, when you're building that website, you need to think about what is your overall goal as well, because what's your call to action? What's the focus of the website? And you should be designing that website, based around that. Do you want them to call a number? Do you want them to fill out a form? What are you trying to achieve here? And, certainly where you host your website comes into play. Website speed has become a lot more important in the last few years. Having an SSL certificate on your website, so you can be HTTPS compliant. That's something that, it's a minor thing that Google looks at, but again, they tell you what they want. So you should at least try to adhere to a lot, as much of it as you can. And that's just one of the factors. So yeah, when I build a website, I'm thinking, what is the point of the website? Because this is the face of your business, whatever you're trying to achieve. And, secondly, does the website load fast, and do all the links work? Make sure that you have structured the links properly. Is it easy to navigate? Because you don't want, if you go to someone's site and it's ugly, people make decisions extremely quickly now. So you're going to make a decision in 5 seconds, and you're either going to stay or you're going to go. So what are you doing to make sure they stay? That's a question you have to ask.
Absolutely. So I've heard you and your brother in other interviews, I know your brother works with you, talk a lot about user metrics. So can you share a little bit about what user metrics do you think are most important, and what kind of search engine optimization tracking tools are you all using with the clients to help really gauge, what's effective and what's not?
Mm-hmm. Well, user metrics are extremely important because Google, has really gotten good at seeing how are people reaching your site, so what they're typing into the search engine, and then who are they clicking on in those results. So the more that someone types in your keyword and then clicks on your actual result in the search engine, that's a signal to Google. And then after that, the next important thing is, once they land on your site, are they leaving immediately or are they staying? If they're staying, that means that search query to that click to that website was all in line and it makes sense, and it can actually help increase your rank. And that's a huge signal now. The opposite is also true. If they type in a keyword, they click on your result in the search engine, and they come to your site and they bounce and they leave immediately, it wasn't really what they expected. And if that happens enough times, it can lower your search rank. So user metrics are huge, and we measure that, with analytics, with the webmaster tools. Keyword tracking, we use like ProRank Tracker and Authority Labs. They have a nice API. But when you look at all those things together, you can see the flow. You can see, okay, this is the query that brought someone to your page, and they're staying for this amount of time, or they're not staying. Why are they not staying? Maybe that term is not related to the page they're landing on. And then you can kind of, improve those pages, or, change some things around, because you definitely want to keep that user engagement on your site very high. So ideally, someone's coming to your site and they're staying for a while, and maybe even sharing it. So social sharing is, is part of that as well.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned earlier kind of machine learning and some of those other things that have really changed with Google. I also feel like mobile technology has made a huge impact in search technology, just because people are using their smartphones now, they're being geolocated now, so that had a lot of changes in the algorithm, or caused a lot of changes in the algorithm. What impact do you think some of these changes are having? And, what do you see as kind of the future of search engine technology? I know for myself, we've talked in the past about how I feel like those of us who've been in the industry since the early 2000s, we're kind of like old school. If you've been in SEO since 2003, 2005, 2007, that was still pretty early on in the industry, and the differences between then and now are so huge. And I see, things like machine learning are really going to change the way the search engines operate, the same way that geolocation has, the same way that semantic search really change the nature of the technology. So do you have any kind of like predictions of, where we're headed, with things like voice search and stuff like that? Because I think that's an exciting part of our industry, that it changes so much. But, what do businesses have to kind of be prepared for over the next few years as we move forward with all that?
Yeah, I mean, as a local business, speaking on that side of it, it's huge. Obviously, having a mobile site isn't even an option anymore. It's you have to. Obviously, being in those maps is that's key as well. So if you're a local business, you need your Google My Business page set up properly. You want to make sure that when they come to your website, that it's mobile friendly. It's no one wants to pinch and squeeze to see your phone number or anything like that. You just want to go to the business, click on directions, or click on the phone number, and that's really what it comes down to. And these are also user metrics that Google's tracking. Are they clicking driving directions? Are they clicking on the phone number? And you mentioned the voice search. It's a great point. That's becoming a huge user metric now that I think we'll see become even more important in the next few years, because people, you just want to push that button and say, hey, where is the nearest coffee shop or something like that, and that's another user metric that's building relevancy for that particular business. So yeah, I mean, where's SEO going? I mean, to a degree, it feels like it goes, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, where sometimes certain things worked and then they stopped working and then they work again. But overall, I feel like the trend is still going up in terms of quality, where now it's, you can still get away with a little bit of, trickery and stuff, but you really shouldn't be, because Google's just getting increasingly better at it. So the focus on content and user metrics, that's what it comes down to, really.
Yeah, I think too with search engines, what we're really focusing in on now is definitely people serving other people, and never forgetting that that's the whole purpose of what you're doing, And so as much as I think, my job's gotten harder over the years doing SEO, at the same time, I think at the end of the day, what we have as a product at the end is so much better than what we had, let's say 10 years ago. So, here at JB Media Institute, we have a number of different experts. As a team, we're always working on keeping up with things. So just to wrap up our interview today, what are kind of, who are the leaders in the industry that you're really paying attention to? And how is your team down in Atlanta really keeping up with the changes and staying on top of things? We provide a lot of resources here at the Institute, but do you have any that you can throw out are really kind of, yes, I pay attention to these people regularly, or yes, I get on this website on a regular basis, just to really get accurate and credible updates on what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, there are a few people in the internet space that I try to keep up with. Rand Fishkin is one that you can look at from Moz. Danny Sullivan always puts out a lot of good information as well. Now, as far as just SEO in general, like what's working in SEO, I'm a member of this group called OMG Machines, and it's got a lot of really good SEOs, and they have some very powerful websites. So, I mean, you can bounce ideas off of this group and see what's actually working, because these are the guys in the trenches. They're actually going out and doing it either with affiliate sites, client sites, et cetera, et cetera. So if something's not working for yourself, you can't really you can't just say, oh, this is what's happening, because it's a very small sample size. But if you could bounce that same idea off of a larger database of, people, basically crowdsourcing what's working, what's not working, that's ideal. So you kind of take that information and, you know as well as I do, it's all about testing in this industry. You test, you test, and you measure. You can obviously get lost in the analytics, so you can't, you don't want to get too crazy with it, but it helps, the more you test, the more you can make an informed decision, because you can't just say, well, this will probably work and try it and hope for the best, because, you're not serving yourself properly, you're not serving your clients properly doing it that way.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, thank you so much, because that's a perfect way to end our interview today. That's something I really tell the students on a regular basis. It's all about executing your strategy, tracking the strategy, and then figure out what's working, and then recreating what worked, and the more that you refine it, the better it's going to get. So that's really exciting. Well, thanks so much for being here, Dan. We really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone else for joining us today, and keep up with the JB Media Institute so you can learn more from experts in the field. Have a great rest of your week.